For decades, the American Mafia/mob controlled far more than just casinos and construction. They specifically controlled large segments of the entertainers industry, particularly jazz music. This control began its rise during Prohibition in 1918, when mobsters, flush with illegal alcohol money, started buying clubs and bars, thereby creating jobs and holding many musicians on contract. The dark side of this control was a brutal reality for black entertainers like Raekwon of the Wu-Tang Clan, who years later was warned against using the name Gambinos because he would be risking his life. The end of the entertainment business was very dangerous, especially back then. This is the harrowing account of how the Mafia/mob ruthlessly manipulated black artists, from forcing Jackie Wilson to re-sign a contract while held outside a window, to the chilling murder plot aimed at destroying Sammy Davis Jr. due to a forbidden relationship. For black entertainers of the early to mid-20th century, the control of the Mafia/mob was an inescapable reality that compounded the injustices of Jim Crow segregation. For some, simply attempting to assert independence was a death sentence. The 1964 death of Sam Cooke, officially deemed a motel shooting over a dispute, is widely believed to have been a cover-up. Cooke was allegedly murdered for trying to leave his mob-affiliated business partners, as he was attempting to start his own record label and teach black artists the business. The mob's contracts were lifelong and unbreakable. When singer Jackie Wilson attempted to resign his contract with Brunswick Records and his mob-connected manager, Nat Turnipole, he was violently coerced. The Dells recalled in an interview that the Five Heartbeat story originated from this incident. Mobsters held Wilson upside down out of a story-high hotel window and forced him to sign the contract. Similarly, actress and singer Lena Horne found herself trapped by gangster Owney Madden, who owned the Cotton Club. When Horne's stepfather approached Madden to request she be paid more, he was nearly beaten to death. Madden's decree was absolute: nobody leaves the Cotton Club until we say so. Horne was so desperate to leave the city to play other venues that she allegedly had to be kidnapped in the middle of the night. Even the most celebrated entertainers like Louis Armstrong had to deal with the mob to be a musician. When Armstrong tried to get out of a contract with New York gangster Tommy Rockwell, Rockwell showed up where Armstrong was with a baseball bat. When Armstrong tried to evade his contract by going to Chicago and finding a new manager, the New York gangsters tracked him down and threatened him at gunpoint during one of his shows. Scared to death upon returning to the U.S., Armstrong sought protection by hiring gangster Joe Glasser, a man connected to Al Capone, to be his manager and protector. The jazz musician Fats Waller had a terrifying encounter with the mob boss himself, Al Capone, who was a known fan of black jazz music. Capone's men kidnapped Waller at gunpoint, putting him in a limousine and driving him to a hotel Capone owned. Waller was forced to play the piano for 3 days straight, earning $100 per song, as an unexpected birthday performance for Capone. After his 3 days of playing, he was sent home with thousands of dollars. Despite their fame, black entertainers were subjected to Jim Crow laws and humiliating racial discrimination at mob-owned venues. In Las Vegas and other states, they could perform at white clubs but had to leave out the back door. They were refused the right to eat, drink, sleep, or gamble at the nice hotels and casinos where they performed, and were forced to stay in run-down motels that looked like shacks. Gangster Bugsy Siegel did allow Lena Horne to stay in a cabana at his Flamingo Hotel, but only under the condition that he had the black maids take the bed linens off every night and burn them, because they felt that black people were unclean. Harry Belafonte faced the same threats in Vegas in 1952, refusing to perform when he was denied lodging in a decent hotel. The mob told him the only way he would leave Las Vegas without fulfilling his contract obligations was in a box. The climax of the mob's control over black entertainers manifested in the life-threatening tragedy of Sammy Davis Jr. Despite dealing with intense racism his entire life, including being brutally beaten in the military, Sammy found protection after joining the Rat Pack through his good friend, Frank Sinatra. Sinatra was heavily connected to the biggest mobsters like Charles Lucky Luciano and Vito Genovese, who allegedly provided the money for him to become a megastar in the entertainment business. Under Sinatra's protection, Sammy felt he could go anywhere and do what he wanted. Protected by the mob's shield, Sammy started getting a little cocky, and wanted to prove to the white man that he could get the whitest famous woman, aiming to rub it in their face. That woman was the new hot movie star, Kim Novak. Though white men wrote articles joking that Sammy was ugly, white women thought he was sexy, attracted to his talent. He could sing, dance, and play numerous instruments like the trumpet, drums, and piano. In 1957, Sammy and Kim Novak met at a party hosted by Tony Curtis, where their chemistry was palpable. Their relationship began despite the extreme danger. Interracial dating was a no-no and still illegal in half the states at the time, leading to intense racial tension. While Kim Novak risked being blackballed from Hollywood, Sammy Davis Jr. risked being killed. They kept their romance secret, with Sammy hiding in the back of a car under blankets and rugs to visit her at her Beverly Hills home. They were even about to get married, having secured a marriage license. When movie mogul Harry Cohn heard about the relationship, he was furious, so furious that he allegedly had a heart attack. Cohn was the CEO of Columbia Pictures, one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, and heavily affiliated with the mob. Kim Novak was his rising star, and he feared the relationship would hurt her career. Cohn put out a contract on Sammy Davis Jr. The order was not to kill him outright, but to hurt him and just beat him up enough to scare him. The terrifying demands of the contract were: break both of Sammy Davis Jr.'s legs. Put out his other eye. Sammy only had one eye from a previous car accident. Bury him in a hole. Sammy Davis Jr.'s father received a call from gangster Mickey Cohen, who warned him of the contract. The contract would be called off only if Sammy left Kim Novak alone and married a black woman in 24 hours. Scared to death, Sammy contacted Frank Sinatra and Chicago mob boss Sam Giancana for protection. Giancana told him he couldn't help him in Hollywood, only in Chicago and Las Vegas, as he didn't have power in California. With no protection, Sammy decided to follow the mob's plan. He contacted singer Lorraine White, whom he used to date, and offered her $25,000 if she would marry him quickly and agree to divorce once things cooled down. The psychological toll was immense. Sammy's driver stated that on the night of the marriage, Sammy was so heartbroken over Kim Novak that he got drunk and tried to strangle Lorraine White. He then broke down in tears, asking, why won't they let him live his life? His driver also had to stop Sammy from putting a gun to his head and killing himself. The combined stories of black entertainers, from Lena Horne being forced to flee her contract to Sammy Davis Jr. facing a mob murder plot, provide chilling evidence of the cruelty and racial oppression within the entertainment industry. These artists were simultaneously battling the pervasive influence of the mafia/mob and the suffocating segregation of Jim Crow, often forced to sacrifice their dignity and personal safety to pursue their art. Their careers, however, stand as a testament to incredible resilience. Whether it was Louis Armstrong hiring Joe Glasser for protection, or Sammy Davis Jr. enduring heartbreak to escape certain death, these legends proved that talent and determination could overcome even the darkest forces of Hollywood. Their survival laid the foundation for future generations of artists.